Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Benchrest with KY Rimfire and Hobbies. I'd like to welcome everybody tonight, and we got some good topics to discuss and got some good knowledge here backstage, and we're going to start introducing people here one at a time. You guys enjoy the show and enjoy the topics, and please interact in the side chat. As I ask questions tonight about what type of items these guys are shooting with, feel free to put in the side chat as well what you're using. Let us know what you use. So first up, we got Mike from MN Shooting Sports or the Long Rifle channel on YouTube. Hey, Mike, how are you, buddy?
Doing good, Chad. Nice to be here. Thanks for having me again. So,
Appreciate you being here, and we'll get started here just as soon as we get everybody on the stage.
there we
Up
go.
next, we got Justin Lowe from Kentucky.
Hello, guys. Glad to be back. Had some pretty good weather this week. The wind's dying down, I believe. We might actually get some accurate shooting in. So, we got some good topics to talk about tonight. You guys stay tuned. Hopefully, enlighten you on something you don't know.
Absolutely. And up next, we got George from Southern Rifle. George, how are you, buddy?
Doing all right, man. Good to see everybody again. I'm just looking forward to trying to talk Dave into selling me that little Mark III martini he's got.
You know, he told me one time he wasn't married to none of them rifles. Well, with that being said, let's go ahead and get him out here. We might talk about that. Up next, we got Dave from Rimfire Dave channel, and he's new to YouTube. And you guys go over and check out his channel. He's got a lot of great content. Dave, how are you, buddy?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
I can hear you well.
Okay, good. I see everybody.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into this whole escapade of shooting Benchrest.
Well, I've been shooting a long, long time. Back about 75, I started. And then I started shooting offhand, and then I got old. So I had to go back to the bench. And then I started watching YouTube, our good old friend Elijah, A Day at the Range. And then from him, I found all the rest of you. And then a couple of my friends said, why don't you make a couple of videos? You have a lot of information we need. So I said, okay. And then I met Chad, and here I am. It's a privilege to be here with you all.
Well,
Thank
I'm
you.
glad to have you, and I know you bring a lot of knowledge to the table. And last week we had a few technical difficulties, but hopefully this week we've got that sorted out, and we'll keep you on for the whole show this time. How about that?
Thank you.
All right, last but not least, and I'll go ahead and tell you, Hasbro had some other commitments tonight, so Hasbro won't be with us, but we do have that American Hillbilly.
Hey, everybody. Good to see y'all this evening. Man, what a popping side chat out there already. And of course, a great panel. And good to have you on there, Rimfire Dave. Glad to get all the technical parts worked out. And good to have you on here, buddy.
Well, I'm still having trouble, but I hope by the next time I have it all worked out.
We'll get through it.
We all have trouble, buddy.
Well, that covers the introduction. So tonight we're talking about support equipment, and this is your bench, your type of rest you use, one piece rest, two piece rest, bipods, shooting bags. We're going to cover a little bit of everything. So we'll go ahead and move on into the first topic or question, and we'll start out with Dave. We'll let you go first. tell us about the bench that you shoot off of, how it's made, what it's made out of. Also, talk about other benches that you've visited that you like or you might like more than yours.
Well, the range I practice at has just opened up Benchrest, so the benches are not what I say up to par. They're wooden, but they have a little wobble. The other ranges I shoot at all have concrete benches made of cinder blocks with cement tops, and they are solid. And if you want to shoot good scores, you have to shoot there. And of course, I'm a big fan of cement benches with concrete tops. They're the best that I can tell everybody. That's what you have to shoot on. Benches that wobble, it's hard to shoot good scores.
Absolutely. So when
Yes.
I decided to do rimfire competitions at our local range, we had a wooden bench up there. It had 4 stations on it. And I went up there all the time and shot by myself. And this thing's got 6x6s for legs, and I'm like, this thing's solid, you know. Well, the first match I ever had, and Justin was there, he can tell you, when you get 4 people sitting on that bench, you feel everything. You feel a man jerking his boat beside you, and
Yep,
just it.
exactly.
You feel everything. And so Justin and I got together and was like, if we're going to keep doing this, we got to improve. So we done a little bit of fundraising, and we've got a. I have to say, we got a state of an art facility now. I mean, it's really nice. Proud of it. So, George, what about you? What kind of bench do you shoot off of? How's it made? And tell us about another bench that you may like better than yours.
I like them all better than mine. The the bench I shoot off most of the time, my dad made, uh, courtesy of Amtrak. He was a shop for me at Amtrak for a long time, and he made me a little bench. It's 3x3 square, and it's made out of quarter inch aluminum top, and a quarter-inch aluminum angle iron all the way around it, and the legs too. That's my primary bench around here at the house now. But down at Buck Creek, we got concrete benches there, and you just there's no beating those. A good concrete bench, man, is a necessity, in my opinion.
Um, Justin, how many block highs did you build our benches?
They're 4 block high,
Yep.
with, and it's all mortared together, not dry stacked. And the tops are actually mortared to the block also.
Justin done all the concrete and mortar work. I stood and held a flashlight because he likes to work till late in the dark, and it's hard to lay mortar without light. So I held the flashlight and he laid mortar. So
Good deal.
A lot of long
That's
nights.
a team there.
yeah. So Hillbilly, what about you? What are you shooting off of? And tell us about it.
Well, I started off with iron board and moved on up to more of a wooden type platform. But as I get more into this, I already got plans. I'll build one out of steel, and then probably either a concrete, type, nice concrete top, or if I find a good deal on a really nice heavy duty, slate or cabinet top, I don't know, might go with that. Add a little thrill, a little bit of uh, stuff to it. I don't know, but yeah, definitely you can tell so much difference. The first few videos I did shooting off that iron board, oh my gosh, that was that was like almost impossible to keep a group, and I just kind of did it for entertainment. But yeah, the solid bench makes a lot of difference. So
What about you, Mike?
Uh, I don't really have the ranges that I belong to between the three of them. I really don't like any of the benches, unfortunately. The one I do most of my bench shooting from, that gun club, they are concrete benches, with like a 3 or 4 inch thick concrete slab and cinder block. But when they built them cinder block in a U shape, so where you sit in the middle, with the thought being ambidextrous left hand and right hand shooter, but you got this wide of an area to get your back bag on and stuff, or if you're shooting off of a bipod or anything, it is really easy if you're not careful to have the stock of your rifle walk off of that bench one way or another. And then they're so short into it that you can't like do everything and scooch over. So solid as a rock, but not really a practical setup. And then the other two ranges, everything's wooden benches with giant gaps between them for your feet to fall in and all your ammunition cartridges to get stuck in. One of the ranges, from our 25 yard all the way down to the 200 yard, it's wooden benches because it's one firing line there. And I'll bet there's 6, 7 different bench designs up and down that firing line. Nothing's the same, So it's what you get when you get people that are willing to volunteer and build stuff for the club, to put in their work hours and stuff. But there's just no uniformity in anything. So I don't like any of the benches and the clubs I belong to, unfortunately.
I want to answer this question here, Jeremy over at Firearms and Fellowship. Thanks for getting on the side chat tonight, buddy. Um, I don't shoot a lot of offhand, but Mike over here, if you go back and look at his videos, he's got some challenges where you had to shoot in multiple positions. So you had to shoot from the bench, you had to shoot prone, you had to shoot standing up, kneeling. Uh, Mike's all about those challenges. So I'm a little bit too fat to get down there. I might not get back up.
Yeah, I can still get up and down fine. I'm getting old. My problem is my blood pressure. That sight does. I'm doing the figure 8 thing when I'm shooting offhand. As it's coming around up about 11 o'clock, I'm breaking the shot, hoping it crosses in the middle of the figure 8. When I was younger, I could just raise my front sight post up at 12 o'clock on the target and start dropping down and squeeze it off in the middle, and it would be good. But can't do that no more.
Justin, when was you gonna tell
Right.
us? When was you gonna tell us about this, Justin?
No, about the 25.
Yeah, you shot a 25 and trap tonight while I wasn't there.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
nobody hardly witnessed it. There's three of us, but had pretty good time.
Yeah, so I didn't go tonight. I had a long, long work week, so I missed trap tonight. So uh, tell us about your bench, Justin. And I know you got two locations that you shoot at, so tell us about them.
Um, so my favorite bench design is definitely like the T-shaped, ambidextrous type benches. I shoot right hand, but there are some left-handed people out there and like to accommodate left and right hand shooters. I'm not a fan of the U-shaped benches at all. I think they're so uncomfortable, um, right or left-handed. I mean, just don't like that design. Um, some places we shot at, and Chad can attest, they had the benches were kind of V-shaped at the back, and they were ambi, but I didn't really care much for the V-shaped bench. I like the T-shape. Chad's got a picture of our benches at our range he can put up and show you. But I definitely like a concrete bench. Um, nope. Yeah, there's our benches.
Good boy. Come on.
So everything is mortared together. Even the tops are mortared to the block, so they're super steady. I mitered all the corners. I poured those tops. I made a mold and
Right.
put in my form. I put mitered like quarter round, and so everything has 45-degree angles to not be sharp edges.
That's basically what we had at Buck Creek, about the same thing.
Yeah. So I've already cheated and told you that I shot off a wooden bench. Before the wooden bench, I've been known to shoot off a tailgate or a table or, uh, you know, uh, even one of those store bought. Um,
Hard tables.
no,
Oh, yeah.
the actual collapsible shooting
Oh, yeah.
rest that you can take with you, like the shooter's tables.
Yeah.
Some of those are pretty solid. Like if you want to take one, set it out and shoot. But man, the concrete bench, as far as stability, it's the way to go. Independent benches, you ain't got to worry about nobody else shaking you or up in your business. That's the way to go. I about made Dave spit his pop all over. All right, so we're going to go through the next topic, and while we're going through the next topic, if you're in the side chat and you want to type in the word rest, we'll get Hillbilly up to call your name out here on the big screen. So go ahead and type in the word rest in the side chat. Hillbilly, if you'll throw a banner up there for me, I'd appreciate that. And so the next topic is front rest and what kind do you use for bench rest? And if you don't have one, is there one out there that you got your eye on? And we'll go back to Dave and we'll let him go first. So Dave, what kind of front rest do you use for bench rest shooting?
Do you want me to call these people out first, or
No, after we call this topic, after we go
Oh,
over this
okay.
topic. Yep.
okay?
Currently, I have a one-piece rest from PQP, which is Dan Keeloff, for unlimited class, and for factory, I shoot a Randolph. I used to shoot Sebs, strictly only Sebs, but I found that this rest is a little bit more solid. I was down at the Nationals and I was shooting my Seb, and I was just getting shots I couldn't call, and I blamed it on the rest, so I left it. And now I shoot off of like I said, a Randolph. I do have a Caldwell that I take on a regular basis and shoot off of it, and I also have a Bald Eagle rest. You see them on Bullet Central, and I probably have one or two more rests around here that I've made over the years. But the better solid rests are the best, and got a good bag on them. And I tell that to all the new shooters: get something that's solid, that does not move. And that's basically what I use.
There's a question for you in the side chat, Dave.
I'll check it out.
It says, yeah, but what kind of recliner is that? If you know, you know. Somebody's admiring your big recliner you're sitting in.
This is my wife's recliner.
Oh.
Yeah, I eventually I'll move to my shop once I figure out all this stuff out. You know, I'm too new at this.
Yep. So,
So
George, tell us about your front rest and that you use for bench rest. And
Well, I've used a little bit of everything over the years. A Farley 2, probably my favorite, and a Zeb right after that. But for that's when I shoot competitive. Now, I ain't shot competitive or registered matches, I should say. I still shoot competitive, but registered matches. And
you missed
I ain't
it.
shot a registered match in, 15 years, I guess. So I use a
They took it off.
heart rest, standard heart, windage top. This one has a a bag that's adjustable, and I started using that just for this pure reason of that damn Kimber, it having a thin stock on it. But I don't like an adjustable bag. I'd rather have a good solid Edgewood 3-inch is a lot better. But for the most part, that heart rest is what I use now.
Hillbilly, do you have a rest for Benchrest shooting?
Yeah. I use a Caldwell. It's just a cheaper one, but that's what I got, and it seems to work. It's not the best, by any means, but it works.
How about you, Mike?
Uh, the only real rest I have is uh, uh, I think it's called a full bow. It's an Amazon knockoff of like a Caldwell Rock. It's rides on bearings for up and down elevation by turning a spool. It's got three adjustable feet on it. It's a nice heavy rest, but I really not a big fan of it, but I've never really shot off that style of rest and stuff. I was off of a block in a bag for the longest time. So like my probably favorite rest is the bedrock rest, because it's fully adjustable. It's fully adjustable. It's it can adjust from 3.5 inches tall to 5.5 inches tall to 9.5 inches tall. I mean, you don't need any more adjustment than that, right?
That's awesome.
That's in a couple of my early videos where I was
Yeah.
making fun of people trying to poke the bear at old Mr. Eli and his ransom rest,
Yeah.
and I'd even said in it, well, you don't need no ransom rest, you need a bedrock rest. Well,
So
ransom rest,
we've been doing.
you know why they call it a ransom rest, don't you? Because if you miss a payment, they're going to come kidnap one of your family members and hold them for ransom.
So we started doing all these videos in support of Elijah being out, and I told Hillbilly I was thinking about taking a piece of duct tape and sticking it on my rest that says random rest. Justin, what kind of rest do you use? And I guess you want me to put this picture up here.
Well, I probably started off with like a three-legged protector rest is what I started off shooting Benchrest with, and still have it and use it for like rifle sighting and stuff like that. But I've had like a first generation Caldwell Rock rest that I've used for quite a while, and use it for factory class and precision. And now just got this new Carpenter rest that I'm using for my Cooper and shooting precision and unlimited with it. So I got two different stock widths now, and I'm using two different rests. My recommendation to new shooters is probably the Caldwell Rock BR. That's for the money. That's a pretty good rest, if you're just getting into it. So I actually made a new top for my Caldwell and finished it today, and that's what it looks like. So I basically copied the top off the Carpenter rest and adapted it to the Caldwell base. That's the Carpenter rest I use there. It's a coaxial joystick rest.
So if you haven't heard this before, Justin's a machinist, so he just reverse engineered the Carpenter rest and made a new head for his Caldwell because he liked that better. So
I like the way it holds the bag better. The tensioners, it's just a whole lot better set up than what Caldwell had for theirs.
so I I started off with a Champion brand rest, and it was like a combo deal. You got the front rest and the rear bag, and actually Vince Ratliff has that rest now. Um, but I was on Facebook Marketplace one day, and this guy had a Caldwell Control Fire, and I bought it relatively cheap, but it had a 1 inch plate uh, on the bottom of it for weight. So that is my Caldwell control fire with a 1-inch plate on the bottom. And you talk about heavy. That booger right there is heavy. So that's my front rest now. Um, but I will be uh, that one there has a narrow bag in it, so it fits like that Ruger. It fits that narrow stock really well. Um, but I'm going to get the Carpenter rest for my 3-inch wide guns, and we're going to have 2 rests that we carry back and forth to the range with us, depending on what rifles we're using. So yeah, that's my rest, and that's where I'm at. And I started off actually before I had a rest. Uh, it's not quite the Flintstone rest, but my my first shooting rest was this setup right here, and that works. But you're relying on yourself to steady that rifle, and you know, as much as you can take yourself out of the equation uh, in precision shooting, you need to try to do so. Um, so, all right, we're going to stop right there and let Hillbilly back up and call out that side chat. I hope it didn't run away too far on you, buddy.
Yeah, I got back up here to where it started out. And anyway, first up we had, type in rest out in the side chat and we'll call your name out here on the YouTubes. We got Vince Ratliff. We got Minnesota Shooting Sports. We got Rustic Rimfire 22. See, we got Orange Smoke M7. Lead Fever out there. We got Old One Guy. We got Jason Moe. We got Helping Man out there. See, we got Firearms and Fellowship. We got Tommy Boy. We got Lead Forever. Good to see ya. We got Rimfire Dave out there and also on the panel. Of course, we got Kentucky Rimfire out there and also on the panel. And see, hopefully, see if I missed anybody. We got Eagle Eye Shooting Sports out there. We got Fuku YT also out there. And we got Ron 2A Matters. And let's see if we got anything else. Hopefully I'm not missed anybody. Oh, we got Jim Ashby out there. And Southern Rifle. And I hope I got everybody. Hope I didn't miss anybody. Welcome. Oh, we got Garage Guy out there too. I didn't see the rest, but I see his name out there. So welcome everybody. Good to have you all on here. Oh, we also got Ronald Eastman just jumped right in. So welcome, buddy.
So Jeremy at Firearms and Fellowship says he don't like lead sleds. It takes all the sport out of it. That's just me though. Not shooting competition. I like to challenge the gorilla on the working end. Yeah, I get it, man. But you know that's a different animal. Like that's a skill you use when you're squirrel hunting or something like that. It's a you want all the help you can get when you need to hit that 10 ring on that target at 50 yards. So, all right. Next up, we're going to talk about your rear bags. What rear bag do you use? What are they made out of? Are they leather? Are they slick? Or are they cloth? And do you have different bags for different styles? And Dave, you might know the answer to this. Justin recently acquired some protector bags. Instead of all leather, they have the slick surface in them. And do you prefer slick surface like that, or do you prefer the leather? So we'll let you go first. What bags are you using, and maybe tell us a little bit about that slick surface.
Well, everybody, I only live about an hour from Protector, so I make a lot of trips up there, and I have 0 bags with all leather. I either have a Cadora top or the new Silky. It's a silver top.
Hmm.
It's very slick, and now he's come out with a new one, uh, and I got one from him, and it works very, very good. It's a gray, slick material. So I make a lot of trips there, and I like his bags. I have him make me bags the way I want them, and I design my own bag, and he makes them for me, and that's what I use. They're designed to fit the rear part of my gun. Almost everybody has to try to make do, and in my opinion, you need to have a bag that fits the rear of your gun the way it's supposed to. So I go with all leather Protector bags. I think he does a very good job, and he's easy to work with.
George?
Protector. I've had this. I bought this one new in '95, and I use it every day during the summer. About it.
She's a little.
I've
She's
got
a
another
little
one.
dry.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that thing's been through it, and I've got this one. This is the one I use to range with the heart rest. It's Protector.
Latin's got the
We
hard
bundle
bottom
it.
on it. Yeah.
Yeah, and them hard bottom. You know, Dave made a good video the other day, or I don't know when he made it. I was watching it the other day on the bags sliding and what to put under them to keep them from sliding.
Yep.
And
Yeah, seen that.
those hard bottom bags like that have that problem pretty bad.
Yep.
So go watch that video with Dave's if you have any bag problem.
So we'll go on around the horn and let everybody talk about their rear bags, and then we might let Dave touch on that just for a little bit, what he uses to keep his bags from sliding. And if you want to see his video, go over and check out his channel, Rimfire Dave. He did put out a video the other day about some good um, materials that you can use to keep those bags from slipping and sliding on you. So Hillbilly, what's your rear bag set up?
Oh man, first of all, jumped in late there on the side chat. I see Cyclops Joe jumped in. Hey buddy, welcome. And I think that's the last person we've had jump in. Actually, I use it's a material. It's basically a Codwell type bag. I have 2 or 3 different ones. They seem to work pretty good for me. I do have a buddy, and he really likes it, and that's all I ever seen him use. Is he uses them? He basically makes them out of denim, old wore out, pants legs and stuff like that. And he swears by them. He loves them, and I've not shot off his or nothing like that. But yeah, several out there. And we just also had Chris Lang jump in. Hey, buddy, how you doing? But yeah, there's some bags out there that I will try in the future for sure.
Boom says he uses a Walmart bag filled with used kitty litter. Nobody seems to want to borrow it.
There you go, Boom.
Used kitty litter or new?
He said used.
Oh,
Mike, what kind of rear bag you using, buddy?
I've used a bunch, but I will agree. I've got for that Caldwell knockoff front rest. I've got that's got a protector front on it, and then I've got a protector. I can't think. I left it in the truck. Didn't bring it out here. It's a taller, but it's got that hard base like the one George just had, but it's a bit taller. and it's heavy as can be. And I love that because of the same U-shaped benches that I'm talking about shooting at. It's like that, but it's all tan, and it doesn't have the cutout handle. It's got such a nice big base on it that when I'm up in that portion of the bench where I've got that narrow spot for the rest to be, that wide hard base bridges that gap and will actually sit there, where if I put like a sandbag or something like that, this is what will walk off and fall down in between here. So I love that bag for that application. Otherwise, I I just do most of my shooting, even if it's bench shooting, from a front bipod. So I like the waxed canvas, different fill bags for my rear bag just because of the flexibility with that. So
Justin, what are you using?
So I really like protector bags. I've been using them since I guess like 2001. Like George, I have my OG protector bag. It looks a little rough, but it's still there. It's filled with heavy sand, and it's been a good one. Um, the picture Chad just put up of that black bag with the handle, that's my newest acquisition. It's really heavy, filled with heavy sand. I think it weighs 23 pounds, if I'm not mistaken. And that handle really makes it nice about carrying, especially when you got stuff in both hands carrying it. I think that's called the doctor bag. Um, I'm gonna plug Protector a little bit here. Um, Anytime you are in the market for a bag, go to Protector's website, and you have way more options on selecting the bag you want. You can actually select the material at the top. You know, you have a bunch of check boxes. You can more or less get a custom bag. If you buy it from Midway or somewhere like that, you have what they bought from Protector. So that's just a little tip on getting bags. But like from Protector's website, you can select like the spacing between the ears, the height of the ears, the material of the ears. Um, you have a lot more choices, options. Edgewood makes a really good bag too. I don't have any Edgewood bags, but I look to try some out later on.
So I started off using Caldwell bags, and like this is my OG setup right here. Just a front bag and a rear squeeze bag, and then there's a rabbit ear bag in the rear. This was a set that come with the big front bag, and it come with two squeeze bags and the rabbit ear bag, and that's how I started off. And then when I really got into Benchrest shooting, um, I went ahead and got a protector rear bag, and uh, that's my current setup now. And I really like the protector bag. Um, the canvas bags are good, the cloth bags, but what I've found with those is they have the tendency to, as the material gets some wear to it, those canvas bags have a tendency to want to roll side to side on you, and the protector bag, it kind of stays put, so it's more solid for me, anyways. That's been my experience. But Dave, you want to plug in right there just a little bit what kind of material you're using to keep your rear bags from slipping?
I uh, I have gone through many materials to keep the rear bag from moving, and a drawer liner is the most common. You could just buy it anywhere, and you just cut a piece the size of the rear bag, and you set your bag on that, and it will keep it from, I call creeping. The bags seem to creep, as you're shooting due to your leaning on it or putting too much pressure on it, and then it moves. And then I see a lot of time with new shooters, I see them cranking on the front all the time. Every time they work the bolt, they're cranking again. They're working the bolt, cranking again. And then when they stand up, I see their bag has moved almost an inch away from them because they lean into them. And I show them this piece of material, and I said, this will definitely help. And that's just something I've been using for, I don't know, a long time.
All right. So the next topic is elbow pads, and that one picture I showed you there, that has my protector elbow pad. If you're shooting off of concrete, to me this thing's a must. Before I had the elbow pad, I shot so much that I had my elbow bleeding uh, from rubbing the concrete. So
Mm-hmm.
that elbow pad right there is a must if you're shooting off a concrete bench for me. Um, Justin, do you use elbow pads?
I'm the one that told you what one was.
Well, I know the answer to that, but
I use them.
yeah,
I
Yeah.
definitely.
yeah.
So what got me started using elbow pad was, shooting Magnum rifles off the bench, and the recoil, you rack your elbow across the bench and don't feel too good. So I started out with just like a foam kneeling pad, like for gardening, and we cut it in half, and I gave my buddy half, and like a seat cushion is what it was,
Yeah.
and we cut it down the middle and made two. But
So I was going to say we see people show up to the matches and they use everything from a foam pad to a fold
A
up
towel.
a towel
put
rack,
a
yeah,
towel under you.
yeah.
Mike, do you use elbow pads?
So that's what that thing's for?
Yeah.
Because I've been doing this with it.
Yeah.
I thought it was supposed to be the top bag for the bedrock rest.
That's to rest your head
Uh,
on.
usually Hillbilly's the one bringing the comedy, but Mike's full of it tonight. So,
For sure.
Hillbilly, where's your elbow pad? You got some of those for like skateboarding, don't you?
Yeah, you betcha. Oh man, I mean, you can literally just put one of those maxi pads on your arm. That way, they just move with you and everything. You don't have to worry about knocking them off the table. But I do have a piece. I don't know. I call it a yoga mat or whatever. They're cheap. You can buy them. They're like 6 foot long or whatever. And they have the foam, on them and stuff. So kind of like what Justin was talking about. I'll cut a piece off that and I keep it on the back there, and I can rest my elbows on it and my rear bag, and everything seems to stay really stationary. So
I'm so glad that you said you cut it up, because I just cannot envision you doing yoga.
Yeah.
Well, I got rid of all the goats, so the goat yoga's over. So I'm like, man, I got several of these around. Might as well use them.
George, elbow pad or not?
Well, yeah. When y'all grow up, you'll get an elbow. Looks like that.
Callus.
Got the callus on it.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I've been using a lot lately is I'm just getting those mats at Harbor Freight. Goes in the toolbox drawers.
Yeah.
They're easy to just throw down, man. Just put a couple of them down, and you're done.
So, Hillbilly was talking about blue jeans. I've been shooting since I was a wee little lad. I got two uncles that they were gun traders. They spent every weekend going to the trade places and trading. And my uncle, that's what his whole shooting rest inventory was sandbags made out of blue jeans.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we shot off of when I was younger. Yep.
And
Yeah, that's
they
the
really
first
don't
bags I
slide
ever had
around
with that.
much or nothing.
You fill the canvas shot bags from reloading shotgun. lots of ranges. That's what they do is they collect them all up, and you someone with a sewing machine, you sew the other end shut after you fill it full of some sand. Works
Yep.
Yep.
great.
Put it
Yep.
in a plastic bag so it don't leach out.
Yep.
And yep.
That's right.
All right, so that covers elbow pads. We're going to move into cheek pads and risers. Share the ones you found that works with you. And Mike, he sent me a Tacticam that we had a raffle or a drawing, and I believe it was Duffer 426 won the Tacticam, and he said he didn't want it, so he said send it to Kentucky, and so Mike sent it to me, but he put a little neoprene pad in the box that had a adhesive backing, and it's from Amazon. He sent me the link to it also, and I put that on my Bagara BMRX because I was just ever so slightly lacking a little bit to look through my scope just right, and that was perfect to get me where I needed to be. You can cut it to fit and put that pad on there, and you got something to rest your cheek on that's soft, and it got my line of sight to the scope just perfect. But Justin, I know you shoot a lot of vintage stuff, so do you use cheek pads, cheek risers?
On some of my long range rifles, have adjustable cheek pieces, and um, typically, I try to get scope height to match up, with my ring base combination or whatever, but don't really use much cheek riser type stuff. But that neoprene self adhesive stuff you're talking about is a good option. You can actually layer that, 2 and 3 layers thick if you need to.
Yep.
It'll stick to itself.
Yeah, so I think I know what Mike's answer is, but I'm gonna let him go first before I was thinking about it. So go ahead, Mike. Tell us what your cheek pad is.
Well, it's you already mentioned it, but one of them is it's this Excel brand from that I found on Amazon that you get like 6 pieces of this for $8 or something like that, and I've still got 3 here. And 2 years ago, I put one piece of this on this B14R cheek riser and cut it, just glued it down, then took a pair of scissors and did this. And that same piece has been on that rifle for 2 years. And it makes all the difference in a lot of things. The comfort, for one, but you all know the weather conditions I shoot in. Not having your cheek up against that hard cold plastic, and instead on this is a big difference as well, dealing with the cold. So I really love this stuff. And then in a lot of my other, like my budget Mark II video and stuff like that for cheek risers, I've done everything from just some, the it's meant to be veterinary, tape to wrap, legs and stuff like that for horses and whatnot, and the foam tubing for insulating your piping in your house and stuff like that. You put some of that over, and if it's not tall enough, put another piece and just clamp it down. Wrap some of that around. Cheapest cheek riser in the world.
Yeah, I was gonna say pool noodle, and medical
Yep,
tape.
yep, cool, yep. Full the same material.
Yeah. So Boomstick's talking about the no drill cheek rest, and I've saw those on other channels, and I'd like to know where to get those at. So they like, if you got a wood stock that you don't want to drill or anything, they slip down on the stock, and they fit kind of snug and they won't move. Um, I've seen several people using those, but I'm not sure where to get them. And if somebody wants to plug that in the side chat or something, I would love to know where to get one of those cheek rests that you don't have to drill or fix it up permanent. Hillbilly, do you use a cheek rest or risers?
Uh, Actually, I don't have any rifles that's got the risers on them and stuff like that. I think what everybody's saying is great stuff. I see that would work great. I try to keep my face off the rifle. If there's one less part of me that's touching that rifle, I think that's a good thing. And so, I've noticed by cheeking it, just my breathing, moving. When you're zoomed in that scope, you can see movement through the scope. So I try my very best just to keep my cheek off of that rifle when I'm shooting. Don't know if that's right or wrong, but I figure try to take all of me out of that rifle I can.
Yeah, my only concern with that is, are you holding your head stable enough to where you're not floating on the crosshair? I mean, that.
Yeah, that could be a possibility.
Yeah.
I don't see, once I get that set, I don't really see the crosshair moving. So, we've talked about that before, actually, me and you both, and you helped me on that. But that's something I tried to make sure is, do a little head bobble and see if that crosshair moves. If it does, then I try to adjust everything to where it don't move. And I think that's helped me, I believe.
George, you using cheek pads and risers?
The king of cheek pads, engineered, I guess, would be Mike. I watched some of his videos. I got inspiration from that. I've used everything from pipe wrap and tie wraps to everything. But one of my favorites, and I used to use all the time, but you got to be careful because it's got adhesive on it, is that cheek ease. Can't remember who makes it. Maybe it's Kick Ease that makes it. It's called Cheek Ease. Yeah. They're great, but now they're adhesive. You can stack them on top of each other, stuff like that. But if it's something you're going to take it back off of, you're hurting.
Dave, what about you?
Well, I like Hillbilly's approach. I try to buy most of my stocks that have adjustable cheeks on them so I can remove them. I try not to touch my cheek at all. And I do a lot of shooting, and almost all my rifles have the removable or adjustable cheek piece. I just unloosen the knob and take it off. And I'm sure that guys shoot good using the cheek on the guns. I just don't. I'm like Hillbilly. The less it touches the gun, the better.
Yeah. Maybe it's because they're old, Dave.
Because you're old.
No, he's got some value to that. That's a good approach. That's kind of what I try to do too.
All right, so moving on, we're going to talk about some bipods. What style are you using, and how are they mounted? Are they mounted to the are they mounted to the sling swivel, or are they mounted to Arca rail, Picatinny rail? Tell us what kind of bipod you're using, how you mount them. I personally don't use bipods much for competition. I do use them for like challenge target shooting, and I usually just get the Harris style bipods that just clip on the swivel stud, and you can get those in different lengths. I do not, or I have not to this date had a rifle with like a Arca setup. I I'm thinking about doing Arca on my BMRX. Just to, I want to set it up more like PRS style instead of Benchrest. So, Justin, what about you? Bipods or no bipods?
Off the bench, I'm a front rest type guy, but for hunting or varmint hunting, long range shooting from a shooting mat prone position, I use Harris bipods. I have several different heights, for varmint hunting down to, shooting prone, whatever. But I really like Harris bipods straight off the sling swivel, which I'm not a real big bipod guy.
Mike.
I'm more of a bipod person than a rest. It all depends on the rifle. What it is that I'm shooting is really what it comes down to. Some of my rifles, my good target rifles, my antique target rifles, there's no way to mount a bipod on it. So that's where a rest or a block in a bag, combination just outshine. But anything that's more modern, whether it's a sling swivel or whatever. I try to stay away from a sling swivel mounting because I've stripped some sling swivels out, cranking it down too much with it moving. Like on the budget Mark II that I've got, I stripped that thing all the way out, and then some other people that like kind of copied that FV rifle build. They did the same thing, and they're like, "Well, now what do I do?" And I told them, "Others, this is what I did. I put a nut on the other side of it because if you over tighten it, you'll pull it through that thin plastic stock. So I just put a nut on the other side, and it hasn't moved since." But uh, I love Harris bipods. I've had the Caldwells and cheaper, knockoffs of this. I probably had 5 or 6 of those, and I usually get a year or 2 years out of it before parts start falling off of them from the spring action. I've had Harris's that I've had for 5 years now that function as good as the first day. I've really become a fan of these Atlas bipods that have the 40-degree or 45-degree flexibility for things. So I've got a couple of these in different lengths, and anybody that's knows me knows I am a big proponent of the ARCA system now. I'm totally bought into that. So I try to convert everything that's a modern rifle over to it. So
Hillbilly.
Yeah, I've used a couple different bipods. The one I kind of go back to, I know there's a lot more fancy ones out there, no doubt about that. But I have a CV Live carbon fiber, and it starts out as a swivel mount, but for very little, money, you can get the mount to go to M-Lock or Arca. So by having just a few of those, I can mount them on, pretty much most any rifle I got, and they're real price friendly as far as that goes, and they so far seem to hold up really good, and I've not had any trouble with them. Now, kind of for deer hunting and stuff, I do have a couple uh, tripods that's got the swivel mount up there and everything. Especially like when I take my granddaughters, deer hunting. That way, they can set up in the blind on a chair. They got the tripod, they got the rifle up there, and I think that really, really helps them, and it would, it'd help me too, instead of shooting offhand, sometimes. So, yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of them. They work.
Good night, Ron. 2A matters.
Ron.
So I want to jump backwards just a little bit because I know Dave's going to talk about this when we get to him, and that is a F class bipod, and I want to shout out Rustic Rimfire because I noticed that he shoots his Tika T1X off of a F class bipod, and I think it's a Sinclair, and he shoots very very well off of that bipod. And also, I forgot to bring this up when we were talking about rear bags. He also shoots off. Not only does he have the F class bipod, he has the mechanical rear rest instead of having a bag back there. He has a mechanical rear rest. And Rustic Rimfire, if you're still in the side chat and you want to shout out what rest that is you're using at the rear, uh, please do so. George, what about you? What bipods do you use, and how are they typically mounted?
Well, I've used a lot of bipods. The best I've found, just all the way around, for the money, for just the workmanship, is just the standard BR model Harris. You can't beat them. And if you want to step up from that, it's the SBRM. It's got the notched legs, but still the BR model. The notched legs are nice. I've got several bipods laying around here. 90% of them are junk. I just bought one the other day. Well, it ain't been the other day. It's been a few months ago. Uh, uh, Magpul. It was like $60. And I thought, well, I'll give that a try. It looked pretty good, and I got it, and I shot it. I even done a little video on it. Man, don't get one. If you're shooting off a car hood, shooting at a groundhog, they're fine. If you try to do any kind of Benchrest work with them, they're junk. Just don't do it. They're just loosely built junk. That's another thing about bipod too. You see a lot of people, especially on YouTube, they'll load their bipod, what they call loading the bipod. They'll push that bipod up against a hard spot on their bench. They'll lay something out there to push it up against. A Harris has got a stout enough spring on it, on those legs, that when they flop down, they're preloaded. You don't have to load it. That's a big thing. That's a pet peeve of mine. Everybody loading their bipods. But let's move on.
All right, Dave, tell us about that big Sinclair F-Class rest. And guys, if you're interested in what we're talking about here, he does have a video over there on his channel, Rimfire Dave. Go check out that F-Class rest, and it's made to clamp into your swivel stud, and it really makes your rifle solid. So go ahead, Dave.
Uh, I have a Harris bipod. I think I have two of them. And I have an Atlas bipod, and I have that Sinclair. And I had another one I made, but I gave it to somebody and he lost it. So, but I not a bipod shooter. But I do shoot it in some of the matches. You have to shoot a bipod. And I use a squeeze bag like Mike held up earlier, because that's the only adjustment you have when you're shooting a bipod is a squeeze bag. And so that's why I'm not real keen on the bipod. It's not quite what I look for. So they're all good out there. I agree with George that the Harris is a little wobbly, and I don't know if I could shoot a match with it. The Atlas is better. I could shoot a match with an Atlas, but the Sinclair, I think, is right up there. And now there's a new one out. I just saw it at Euro Optics last week, but it's a little bit out of my price range. It is very, very nice. They're like $5.90, and it does everything except wash your car. It is really, really nice. It's on an Arca rail. All the new, better bipods are going to the Arca rail or the M-Lock, and they are much more steadier and easier to use. I have to agree with that. Whether I get one of those new ones, I just can't. I just can't push the button yet to get one. It's a little expensive for somebody that I would use it one time and throw it with the rest of them. But it is out there, and it tilts up, back, front, left, right, swivels, moves. It does everything. But $600 is a lot of money. Okay, Chad, it's up to you.
Yeah, so Dave's taking a little stab at me. We've been on the phone several times today. I told him I was considering buying one of those Sinclair bipods, and he goes, "Hey, I got one that's real similar. I made it," and he said, "I'm going to send it to you." Well, tracking confirmation says that it was delivered on the 19th, but I don't have no package, and we don't know where that rest is. So there's an insurance claim being filed for a lost package, and hopefully it pops up somewhere. But as of right now, we don't know where that thing is. So moving along, uh, I know that everybody don't have fancy shooting rests, and some people may just shoot off of sandbags, and that's okay. Like you can, like we said earlier, you can take blue jeans and make sandbags, or you know, like Mike and them said, you can take the lead shot bags. And that was a topic that I had with sandbags, but I think we've already brushed on that uh, throughout the discussion. So we're gonna move on um, to weights. Do you use weights, uh, or do you add weight in your stock to make your gun heavier for stability? So, Dave, you wanna go first on that one?
Sure. Yes, I use Mike's theory. I take a shot bag and fill it a third full of shot. I have three of them, and I place one on each leg of my rest almost every time. Now, this year at a match, I saw a guy that he saw my bags, and he said I didn't have any bags, but I had some 5 pound weights off of his weights, I guess, and he put a 5 pounder over top of each one of the adjusting screws. And it looked a little funny, but he said it works. It keeps his rest solid. So I guess the answer is yes, I do put weights on my rest. I don't put them on my gun, but I do put them on the rest itself. Keeps it more solid.
We'll give Lead Fever a plug here real quick. He shoots a Tika T1X, and he's got videos out there discussing what he done to weigh down his rifle, and I think he epoxied pellets and steel BBs in the void cavities inside of his stock. So he bedded the inside of his stock with lead pellets and BBs, and then he took the butt plate off the Tika T1X and used lead pellets and BBs stuffed in Ziploc baggies. He crammed that full
Mm-hmm.
and then put his butt plate back on. And I believe, yeah, 16 pounds. So he's got that in the comment. He's got his Tika T1X weighing about 16 pounds. So that's one thing you can do to take a rifle that's too light and give it a little more weight to stable it up. So George, do you use weights or do you add weight?
Depends on where I'm at. If I got some handy, I'm bad for leaving that at home. I've got ankle weights, got 5 pound ankle weights, and
Yeah, they
like Dave
work.
was talking about, yeah, I use those. But I'm so bad for leaving them at home because they weigh so much, and I've got enough stuff in my range bag. Hell, op. so I don't use it that much, but I do weight. But about all my rifles have got some kind of weight system in them. Like the Panda, it's got its own weight system in the butt. Um, but yeah, weighting a rifle really helps.
All right. What about you, Hillbilly?
Oh man, yeah. I bench press around 300, and I do use weights even to build up my trigger finger and stuff like that. So yeah, I work out quite a bit. You can't just have a body like this by not using weights. So
Yeah.
Oh, Mike, I'm searching here for a charge cable. My battery's getting low, but go ahead, Mike. It's your turn.
All right. Yeah, I again all my modern stuff that's like in some type of a chassis or has some form of a M lock or what was it before M lock? The other clamp system.
Picatinny or
Uh, uh,
Key mod.
oh
Key
yeah,
mod. Yep,
key
yep,
mod.
yep,
Yeah.
yep, 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 yeah. You can get stuff like this, these weights, and a set of two of these, one on each side of the rifle. These go for about $50, and it adds a pound and a half, or three-quarters of a pound, to the rifle. So you get a few of these going on it. You can mount them other places. Like these ones are, have a M-lock system on the back of them. So like my More Money Mark II, I've got four of these on the front. I'd put more, but there's no more M-lock slots for it. But another one that I've done, and I've done videos and talked about it in my videos, is another thing that my guy over at DST Precision, Troy, he made these for a while, and he still does actually. And this little guy is 3.5 pounds of steel, and it's got a screw-in part here where you can add additional 1 pound steel tube weights to it out on the front of it, and it Arca locks into place. And you put this out on this here in and of itself, it balanced my B14 out where the mag well it became the center of gravity for that rifle. So by having this sticking out on the front, it made that rifle just sit down nice and flat for like barricade shooting. But when I moved it back closer to the mag well on it or whatever, it again it's changing the fulcrum point in the rifle, which is making the center of gravity lower and better on it, and it just made shooting this from a bench so much more enjoyable, and the accuracy kicked in. And again, everybody said it already. A heavier rifle is just easier to shoot. So, but my point is, it's another one of the beautiful
It is.
things about Arca is the flexibility of how many things you can do, and then take back off the rifle where it isn't permanently affixed to the rifle. You're not, betting molten lead or mercury, as I saw someone put in there, or I've seen a lot of it. People, uh, chiseling out a portion of the wooden stocks to lay in brass strips and stuff like that. It's all great. It works. It adds a lot of weight, but are you going to do that to a nice vintage rifle? I'm not. So
Justin, you use weights?
Uh, Typically I don't use weights, but some sanctioned Benchrest matches, you have weight restrictions on rifles, so I guess you can once you're scoped out and all that, you could add weights up to that threshold, But that's one thing you'd have to be cautious on is weighing too much. With some matches have weight restrictions. Um, I have weighted like my turkey gun. It's a Mossberg 835, and I added like some weight to it to reduce recoil a little. But having a heavier gun or adding weight definitely helps on you know pulling the gun off from trigger pull or something. But most Benchrest guns have a real light trigger, and that's not an issue.
All right. Well, um, I don't think I have any guns that I've added weight to. I, most of my guns are already heavy, so
That's me
um,
too.
um, so we'll go ahead and move on. And now that we're stable with our rests and weights and rear bags, um, what type of leveling system do you use? Um, do you have uh, the electronic leveling system, or do you have the one that clamps on your scope? Do you have one that mounts to the pick rail? I mean, there's several different versions out there. So myself, I have two or three different versions of the ones that clamps on the scope, and I put my gun on the table and get my gun level, and then I set that scope level to match, and then uh, it's really important to have your gun level when you're shooting competition. So, Justin,
I have the ones that clamp to the scope tube, and I like
yeah,
the ones
and
that stick out, to the side. You can kind of while you're checking wind flags, you can kind of
Also,
check your level.
if you don't have a mounted level, I've seen guys take these things and just put them on top of their scope
Scope
turret
turret, yeah,
to get some kind of ideal,
reference.
reference. So, Mike, do you use levels?
Yeah, every rifle I've got has got one. Some have got two uh, different levels on it. Usually, most mounted in two locations, off of uh, the 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 pick rail, and then another one on the actual scope tube itself. So they're at different heights. And again, this is more because of my PRS type stuff, but where you're moving and stuff and maybe trying to scan over things, you don't got to move around so much. Just at a glance down or up, I can see where a level's at. And I started playing around with an electronic, the SG Pulse electronic level here this last year. And I've only really done anything with that on my centerfire match rifle, and I really, really like it. I just don't shoot the rifle enough, and I've kind of gotten away from shooting them matches last year. But that has a lot of benefits to it because of the electronic data that it can feed back to me through the SG Pulse and the SG Shot Timer, where it actually gives me the graph and tells me how many degrees of cant I had when I pulled it off, where I can actually go back and see it. It physically is measuring the angle and how many degrees of cant when the trigger went off, and it's recording that information, which can be helpful if as long as you're patient enough to sit down, look at it, take it with a grain of salt, and go, yeah, I am doing something wrong here. So
All right, Hillbilly, do you use levels?
I do have one scope mount level, and I did use that a few times. But I don't know if it makes any difference, but pretty much I make sure my table's level, and then when I go hang my targets, I got just a little, level. I'll go down there and I hold that up and level my target. And it seems to me that looking through my crosshairs and stuff like that, just I can kind of, I mean, it might not be 100% accurate, but I can kind of tell, if I'm cantered a little too much one way or the other. Because before I was pulling my head off and kept looking at that level on the scope mount, and it just seems to maybe help me a little better. I don't know if it's any good or not, but that's kind of this is what I've been going off of.
All right, George, what kind of levels do you use?
I've got a couple of different levels I use. Most of the time, y'all will laugh. This little bitty aluminum bubble level. I'll level my rest. Now this is bench rest shooting. Now I'm not talking about. I'm talking about shooting off bipods and stuff, because that's different. But when I use my bench rest, I level that rest. When I go out there to hang the target, or whoever hangs the target for me, I've got another level. It's about a foot long, and they'll take that and run a marker across that level. A lot of ranges do this for you, but most don't. And whenever you hang your target, your ARA or IBS or whatever it is, you will level the top of that target up with that line. That makes your target level and square. And when you're leveling your rest back at your bench, if you'll just take your crosshairs, your vertical crosshair, and lay right beside that target and make sure that you're going up and down straight and level, man, it's going to save you a lot of trouble and make you shoot a lot better.
All right, Dave,
Did I
what do you
explain
use?
that right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I do mostly what everybody said. I level my scope, and then once I get it level on the gun, I usually take that scope level off, and I use a torpedo level to level my rest, left and right, front to back, and I get it level. before I put my gun on it. And then I do like George says, I level my target and then I run my crosshair all the way to the top, and it should be perfect with the top of that target. And you can put it up in the right-hand corner or left-hand corner of your crosshair, and it should be up and down, perfect across the top. It saves me a lot of time. It's just what I do, but I think George does it too. A lot of Benchrest shooters do that.
Yep. So I
Yeah.
have, I failed to mention it, but um, I have the one-piece rest that we can shoot in unlimited, and for that one-piece rest to work, you set it at one corner target, and then it works its way. You can work your way across by simply dialing a knob,
Right.
and if you don't hang your target level, then that that's
You'll fight
useless.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, you're fighting with it. So I don't have it with me, but in my range bag out in the truck, I have a block level made similar to this, but it has a slot cut in the bottom of it,
Yep, you set
and
it on your target.
and you set it on the paper target, and you hang that target with that bubble level on top of it and level that target. And when you get that target perfectly level, then you can take one of those one piece rests, and when you dial left to right, you don't have to touch the elevation. It'll be right on the 10 ring when you move
Yes.
it over every time. So, um, guys, that pretty much wraps up our topics for tonight. I want to take a moment here and let Justin talk about this carpenter rest. Uh, I did release a video with Justin on this rest, and we got a lot of interest in this rest, and um, got a lot of views on that video. We're over 1,000 views on the video right now, and so Justin's going to share a little bit about what's going on there. And yes, this rest is available, but there may be a little bit of wait time as far as how fast they're going to be able to get them out. So, uh, Justin, if you want to go ahead and talk about it, and I'm going to throw your email up on the banner just in case people wants to inquire about it. And
Okay.
the rest that we're talking about is uh, actually this rest right here, which is a joystick rest, and it's called the Carpenter rest. And Justin, you can have the floor for a moment.
Okay. So we put out a video last week, I guess, or last weekend about this rest. We got way more response from it than I ever expected. We currently, well, the maker, he currently ran a batch of them, and they all sold immediately. So we're in the works of running another run of them. Probably midsummer, I would imagine. We're going to do a lot larger run this time. He basically like cleaned up some spare parts that he had, already made up. He's kind of wiped out his inventory on material, so he's got to start over making these from scratch, basically all the parts. So if anybody has emailed me already, um, you know, if you're willing to wait a little while until we get them made, um, I'll keep your email and update you when they're coming close to being ready to ship. So I haven't set a firm price on these new ones because material has went up tremendously due to these tariffs. Aluminum has raised astronomically. But it's basically the update on the rest. If anybody's interested in one, you can email me, but it'll probably be midsummer before we have another run of them ran. The guy that makes them, he's made these rests for quite some time. He's an old BR shooter, and he actually calls this one the light Benchrest model. He has another model that's bigger and heavier that accepts up to 6-inch wide stocks. He does a lot of like 600-yard Benchrest BR. So, the model of this, I guess, would be the light. lot rest, he calls it. But we're trying to get some run, and get a firm price on the new one. So I'll definitely update everybody that's emailed me.
All right. Well, lastly, I got some. I think it's exciting.
These are available right now.
Yabba
The
dabba
block rest.
do.
Yep, I can have a bunch of these out in 24 hours. Just
Yeah.
send me an email. Again, 3.5 inches, 5.5 inches, 9 inches of height adjustment.
Yeah.
That 9-inch of clear 30-round mag on an AR real easy.
Yep,
Yeah.
it's the last rest you'll ever need.
All
I
right.
actually use
So,
them in muzzleloading. Call them chunk guns.
real quick, guys, because we just hit the hour and a half mark. But I have. Um, I was fortunate enough to come across a lady that it's a one-stop shop for me. So I now have merchandise available on the channel, and I don't have a storefront, so you can just simply email me. Um, and let me get my email up here. Uh, take Justin's down, put mine up.
Yeah, you don't email me for Kentucky Rimfire and
So
Hobbies.
there's my email running across the bottom of the screen. But you can see up here, I got T-shirts, which are Kentucky Rimfire and Hobbies, and it's also on the back. And then I also have them with the logo that you see on my YouTube. Um, but I'm not going to go over pricing right here. If you're interested in merch, you can contact me via email. But what I have available to me right now is T-shirts, sweatshirts, tumblers, license plates, keychains, air fresheners, koozies, hard koozies or soft koozies, dog tags, badge holders, and decals. And guys, this is my tumbler. It's this is very nice, and
That's
she
sweet.
put my name on it.
All right.
So those tumblers right there are going to sell for like $25.
So if we get
And
one of those, does it say Chad on it?
no, you can get
Oh.
it personalized with your own name, or you can not have a name. So this is the air fresheners, just like a real tree air freshener, but it's got Kentucky Rimfire and Hobbies.
Does it
And
smell like
scent?
gunpowder?
what's that?
Does it smell like gunpowder?
Well,
Hop's number 9s.
somebody said Hoppy's number 9, but so far
Ballast
this
off.
one
Hoppy's
one
number
here's
9.
this one here's green apple, but
All right.
I had a request for either cedar or pine, and she made them in cedar and pine. So I got window decals. If you want to put a window decal on your vehicle, there's Kentucky Rimfire and Hobbies, and got license plates.
All
So
right.
this is all very nice products, and like I said, the same lady. If you place an order with me, I can tell her, and she usually has it back to me within a week. So, of course, you'll just have to cover actual shipping costs. But T-shirts are $25, and plus whatever it costs to ship. So, if you are interested in any Kentucky Rimfire and Hobbies merchandise, please email me at toyotachad@outlook.com. And that is it for the merchandise. So we will go around the room, and guys, this is your time to talk about either what you got coming up, or take this opportunity to plug your channel. And guys, everybody here but Justin has a channel, and if you want to see Justin, just hang around Kentucky Rimfire and Hobbies, because he's constantly in my videos.
Yeah.
But everybody else here has their own channel, so go over and check them out. And I think the newest one here is Rimfire Dave. He just got a fresh start about 5 or 6 weeks ago. He's putting out some awesome content. Go check him out.
Yeah,
So
he is.
Dave, what do you got coming up, buddy? And plug your channel.
Well, I made a fishing video the other day because I'm a big trout fisherman, and I try to catch 1,000 trout a year. So I show everybody how I do it. So I made that last week, but ARA season starts next week. So I'll be shooting every Saturday from now until the end of the year, Tuesdays and Fridays, Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays from now until snow flies.
He'll be
So
fishing.
hopefully my next video is at the range.
George, what you got coming up, buddy?
Well, the 5th, I've got a big groundhog shoot coming, long range groundhog shoot for those that are interested in that stuff. It's 400 and 500 yards. I'm going to take my camera there and try to get some good video of that. But, of course, rimfire and stuff, I'll be doing a lot of that now that the weather's finally warmed up enough that a man can't. Or I can anyway. I ain't like y'all. I ain't out there freezing my butt off doing this stuff. So weather's finally got good enough to start shooting a lot more rimfire and a lot more center fire too. But that's about it right now.
Here, Billy.
Oh man. First of all, I want to thank you for having me on here, and man, this has been fun. I really enjoyed it. Always a great panel and side chat out there, man. Just a blast. Tomorrow night, Saturday, 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern. Each and every week we have Guns, Beer, and Therapy. So if you ain't doing nothing, swing by and visit us. We always try to have a fun time over there. And of course, I got videos coming out here and there. Just loving life and trying to have a good time. Thank you for having me, buddy.
Yep, thanks for being here. Mike?
I'm hoping to get down to North Star Rifle Club, where I'm hosting the Long Gong match this year. The grounds director opened up the range road to get down there. It's finally dried out from the thaw and whatnot enough that they're letting car vehicle traffic down there. So hoping to get down there and do some more promotional stuff for that's coming up. And the other big thing I got to get around to doing is I've done one previous CV Life video review on something. They sent me another optic a little while back here, and they're kind of starting to hound me a little bit that, hey, when you're going to get around to doing that review on that LVPO. So I'm going to try to do that here this weekend as well. And also, I want to shoot, a couple of people have sent me some interesting looking challenge targets here that I need to get out to. So I don't know what's going to happen this weekend, but if you stick around and watch the channel, you'll find out when I know.
Rimfire Dave, you're in the same boat as me, buddy. I need a D or an E 52. Yep. I got an A, B, and a C. I need a D and an E.
Yeah, they're hard to find.
Justin?
We got a match Sunday, a rimfire match, so looking forward to that. And hopefully the wind don't blow us away like it has been. Glad the weather's breaking and shooting season's in full swing. So
Giving
hopefully
away any 52s, Hillbilly.
I was thinking.
All right,
mean-
guys. Well, I got to get out this weekend and make some videos. Everything that I have banked up is out and posted, so I got to make some new content. I plan to go to the range maybe tomorrow evening. I'd like to do a turkey video, patterning my turkey shotgun. I got plans to stretch the BMRX out to 200 yards. Not sure if that'll happen this weekend or not.
Possibly
Uh,
300.
yeah, and got a funny video maybe coming out this week, so we'll see what happens there. And yeah, hoping to get a hoster here pretty soon. Hillbilly up hooked me up with craft hosters, and I'm supposed to be getting a hoster in to do a review on also. So be looking out for that. But that's pretty much it. I want to say thank you to everybody that was in the side chat tonight. Chad Kelly, thanks for joining in. Uh, Boomsticks waving at Chad, and yeah, a lot of information come out tonight, and a lot of interaction in the side chat, and I appreciate that. And I think we were up to close to 30 viewers, maybe a little more, a little less. But all these guys on the panel right here, they're here because I feel like they bring knowledge to the table, and we're going to keep going with this, guys, talking about Benchrest, and just stay tuned next week for the next topic. And if you got any suggestions at all on something you'd like to see covered here in the Let's Talk Benchrest, please email me or put it in the comments on this video. We'll try our best to get what we can out to you and share what we know, and we don't claim to know it all. So with that being said, I'm rambling now. I appreciate everybody on the panel. I appreciate everybody on the side chat. Y'all have a blessed week. Thank y'all for coming. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye,
Goodbye.
everyone.
Everybody.